Noorsign Books presents Ramadan Miracles, Stories of Faith Found in the Ordinary. Rent Due on the First by N. Zaman. Part 1. Between Rent and Revelation. Houston, Texas. Omar Garza is 29 years old, 10 days away from Eid, and $900 short on rent. But on a boiling freeway, he's about to find out that when everything breaks, that's exactly where the light gets in. The engine died so suddenly it felt personal. 1 second, Omar's 2012 Civic was humming along I-45, the AC wheezing but still pretending to work. The next, the steering wheel went heavy in his hands, and the roar of the freeway rushed in like a wave. The check engine light glowed a solid, accusing orange. "Come on, man, not now," he hissed. He twisted the key. Nothing. Cars screamed past at 70 miles an hour. Horns blared as someone noticed too late that the silver sedan ahead of them was losing speed. On reflex, Omar slapped the hazard lights on and wrestled the car toward the shoulder, every muscle in his arms burning as he forced the dead weight of the wheel to obey. Gravel popped under the tires. A guardrail flashed inches from his door. Then, finally, the car rolled to a shuddering stop on the narrow strip of ground between moving death and metal wall. Silence. No AC, no engine. Just the endless rush of traffic and the hollow thud of his own heartbeat. Heat pressed through the glass like a hand. He glanced at his phone, still clipped to the vent. 7:15 p.m., 90 minutes to Maghrib, 14 miles from home. Rent due in 4 days, $290 short. The only light on his dead dashboard was that stubborn orange icon. He let out a breath that sounded almost like a laugh and dropped his forehead to the steering wheel. "Ya Allah," he whispered. "Seriously?" 20 days earlier, the only problem in his life had been numbers. The adhan on Omar's phone blared thin and tinny at 4:11 a.m. He groped for it on the nightstand, almost knocking over the water glass. "Bismillah," he mumbled, voice thick with 3 hours of sleep. Beside him, under their thin blanket, Nour shifted, one hand flopping across the warm dent he'd just left. Her belly, 7 months and counting, rose under the sheet like a small hill. Every morning it still startled him. There's a person in there, whose whole world is her heartbeat and my bad tajweed. He slid out of bed, careful not to rock the mattress, and padded into the kitchenette. The only light was the green blink of the microwave clock. 4:13. On the counter, under a sheet of foil, waited a plate. Scrambled eggs, fool madames glistening with oil and cumin, half a stack of tortillas. 3 sticky notes were stuck crookedly to the foil. "Make dua for me. You're doing great, Habibi." A lopsided blue heart. The rock behind his ribs eased, just a little. "Ya Allah, give her Jannah," he murmured, peeling back the foil. He ate fast, more by duty than hunger. His stomach wasn't awake yet, but he knew that 2 p.m. regret of a skipped suhoor too well. The fool was garlicky and lemony, exactly how Nour made it when she somehow still had energy. She'd fallen asleep on the couch last night, dental hygiene textbook open on her chest, hand on her belly like she could hold the baby in place by sheer will. He drank 2 glasses of water, then stood hunched over the sink for a second, watching his reflection in the microwave door. Patchy beard, dark hollows under his eyes. Ramadan had carved a little more out of his cheeks. 29, but he looked older. "Alhamdulillah," he said anyway. His brain, rude as always, answered with math instead of dhikr. 1,200 for rent, 300 in the account, 10 days until Eid, which was also the first of the month. $90 a day. He rinsed his plate and crossed to the corner where the green prayer rug lay rolled up. The little mihrab pattern pointed toward the Qibla his imam had marked on a compass app. He unrolled it, heels always just off the edge. On the wall above, his laminated cheat sheet waited, taped at eye level. He raised his hands. Allahu Akbar. The words didn't feel foreign anymore. 6 months of use had worn them into his tongue. Al-Fatiha, slow and careful. Then Al-Ikhlas. Second rak'ah. A spike of panic. Was this 2 or 3? Then a stubborn choice not to start over. He gave salam right, left, half proud, half like a kid turning in a test with blanks. He stayed sitting, hands on his thighs, eyes on the cheat sheet. Ramadan is the month of answered prayers, they had all said. Just ask. Allah is listening. Ya Allah, he began. The English jammed in his throat. Help me. With what? With everything? Do I have to deserve it first? He exhaled. Ya Allah, make this easy for me, he said at last. The safe line, the one from every khutbah and Instagram carousel. Immediately, the old voice in his head, his mother's catechism and childhood shame braided together, whispered, if your faith was stronger, you wouldn't need easy. He swallowed it down. Then he got up. Time to work. By 6, Houston was already a hint of heat under a gray dawn. Omar slid into the Civic's driver's seat. The car smelled like oud air freshener, stale coffee, and strangers' lives. His wooden misbah swayed from the mirror. On the visor, a laminated dua for anxiety fluttered. He tapped the steering wheel twice. Bismillah. The engine coughed, then caught. The check engine light blinked on, considered its options, then went dark. He pretended not to notice. Hillcroft was already busy. He opened the rideshare app. The little logo pulsed, then exploded into a map of gray cars and pink surge zones. Ping. First ride. Airport. Good miles. Alhamdulillah. By 10, he'd made $50-something, a family to Bush, a nurse to Fannin, a med student who snored all the way to Beechnut. At every red light, his thumb twitched toward the earnings tab. $1,200 for rent, $300 in the bank, 58 so far, 90 a day. He turned on a Quran app. Surah Yusuf flowed into the car, a story like the ones from his abuela's Bible, but different, cleaner, sharper. When they plotted against him, Allah was the best of planners. He thought of his 3 sisters, of last Christmas, of his mother's wet, furious eyes. You killed the boy I raised. He tightened his grip on the wheel. The next ping sent him to the Marriott downtown. Pickup, Gerald K. Destination, the Galleria. Gerald slid into the back seat, smelling like stale bourbon and expensive regret. Late 50s, pale blue shirt, tie dangling, cologne fighting last night's decisions. Galleria, Nordstrom entrance, he said. App says it, but these things are dumb as rocks. Yes, sir. They rode in peace for almost 2 minutes. Yusuf's recitation washed under the hum of tires. Hey, Gerald said suddenly, you one of those guys that don't eat all day? Omar's eyes flicked to the mirror. Muslim, he said. Yes. Right, Muslim. Gerald nodded at the misbah. You pray with those? They help me remember. To do dhikr, to remember God. And you're fasting right now? No coffee, no water? Nothing, Omar said, from dawn to sunset. Jesus, Gerald muttered. Pardon my French. It's okay, Omar's tongue felt like cardboard. It's for God. Gerald squinted at him. You don't look Arab. You Mexican? Yeah, Omar said slowly. Family's from Monterey. So you converted? Gerald said the word like he was testing a new flavor of gum. About 6 months ago. Gerald let out a low whistle. Man, 6 months and you're already doing the not eating thing? My buddy's wife is Indian. She does it. He drinks coffee in the closet so she won't feel bad. He chuckled. That's commitment, boss. Why? Omar stared at the road. He could have said the line, religion of peace, structure, community. He thought instead of the first time he'd heard Quran at ISGH, and something inside him had said, oh, like it had been found. But his mother's voice cut across the memory. You killed the boy I raised. Gerald waited, genuinely curious. Why? He said again. Would you choose to be something that makes your life harder? The question landed like a stone thrown into a pond that was already too full. Why get up at 4 a.m. to go hungry all day? Why learn to stand and bow and speak to God in a new language? Why be the disappointment at Christmas and the awkward guest at Eid? He opened his mouth. The truth trembled on his tongue. Because it's true. He tasted fear instead. Dunno. Guess I'm just stubborn. Gerald laughed. Fair enough, boss. He tipped nothing.
An hour later, the Civic idled in the shade of a sad little oak outside the Galleria. The Quran app had slid from Surah Yusuf into YouTube suggestions. Ramadan, month of mercy, blinked up at him. He tapped the screen off. The car creaked in the heat. He unclipped the laminated anxiety dua, hands shaking more than he wanted to admit. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan. The Arabic hit his tongue like small stones. O Allah, I seek refuge in you from worry and grief. His throat closed halfway through. He forced the rest out, syllable by syllable. His phone buzzed. New text. Mr. Barnes, landlord. Garza, just a reminder, rent's due on the one street. No exceptions this month. We've got a waiting list. The word swam. No exceptions? Waiting list? He did the math again, compulsively. 1,200. Minus 300. 900 to go. 10 days. 90 a day. Today's earnings? 58. Already behind. The phone buzzed again. Mom. He hesitated, then opened it. Mijo, your father is in the hospital. He had a fall. I thought you should know. Don't come. He doesn't want to see you. The last line burned. Don't come? He stared until the letters blurred, then sharpened, then blurred again. He read it a third time. A fourth. On that one, the sentence bent in his mind, turned from a knife into a shield. His mother, as always, stepping between Ernesto's pride and Omar's fragile chest. He texted his eldest sister with clumsy thumbs. Is Papa okay? 3 dots appeared. He's fine, bruised hip, being dramatic. He asks about you, but won't say so. Omar let his head fall back against the seat. The check engine light blinked on, stayed. Then, after a few seconds, went out again. He stared at the empty space it left. How am I supposed to do this? He whispered. Rent, car, Dad, all of it. His phone buzzed once more. A rideshare pinged this time. He wiped his face with the heel of his hand, forced his voice steady. Bismillah, he said, to the dashboard, to himself, to the unseen. He tapped accept and put the car in drive. As he pulled out of the shade and back into the boiling freeway, one thought thudded behind all the others. If one more thing breaks, I don't know what I'll do. You've been listening to part 1 of Rent Due on the First, a Noorsign Books original by N. Zaman. Will Omar find a way, or will the weight of the world be too much? The story continues in the next part. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and join our inner circle at noorsignbooks.com. Jazakumullah khairan.